Make sure you drinking your water. Make sure you drink. Okay, this is good. Just put my lip gloss on. I'm a little bit nervous for this one. I can't even lie to you guys. Got my water here. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sephora Zola and I am back with another YouTube video. Make sure you guys get me to 2,000 subscribers, guys. Like, genuinely, I had to do all of that to wake you guys up, to remind you guys that I'm not at 2,000 subs yet, and it's up to you guys to get me to 2,000 subscribers. Make sure you guys like, comment and subscribe before you continue watching my content. Share my video, you know, send it to your grandma, your nan, your uncle, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin. Essentially, this video is Real Influencing episode 5. I've got an important topic and one that's really, really personal and dear to my heart. This topic is all about mental health, and this video is all about depression and anxiety and mental health problems, mental health issues, mental health. Sorry. One thing about me is Sephora is going to joke about her problems. Wow. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not qualified in that. However, I do think it's my responsibility. One that did say that this year on YouTube, I want to be real. It's just going to be a really candid, free-flowing video. Let's get into it. As people, as humans, we all kind of have our own internal battles that we don't really usually talk about, especially with myself. On my YouTube channel, I've ever said the words anxiety or depression because just the way I've been raised and in my household and an African household in general. But yeah, in regards to depression and anxiety, quickly just explain what it looks like. To me, it's not a taboo. It's not like some horrific thing that certain people that look like this go through it. A lot of people deal with it on a day-to-day basis, which I think is important to understand. Depression is the feeling of feeling constantly low, feeling sad. Even when I checked Google, just to be specific as well, depression is a mental health condition where you enjoyed certain things in your life previously but you don't find them enjoyable anymore, where you are constantly sad and low. Very vaguely what depression looks like to me. Depression also comes in different forms. Something can be the catalyst to depression, like a death or bad experience. It might not even be something major. It could literally just develop because as humans, our emotions are just unexplainable. And that's what depression looks like to me. Anxiety to me is also the constant feeling of worrying, feeling nervous, because we all have the very human natural emotions of feeling nervous, scared, etc. But I feel like anxiety is like the constant feeling of that. Particularly here to tell you my experience of those two mental health problems where I had like a very heightened version of anxiety. If you are dealing with these mental health problems currently, or any mental health problems, make sure you guys are speaking to someone. Just make sure that you're seeking therapy. Make sure that you're speaking to a sibling, a friend, just speaking to somebody. I know that if you are dealing with something as serious as depression and anxiety, is always necessary to seek help. Make sure you're taking all forms into consideration. For me, it's faith. Faith is a really important one. So if you are a Christian, or if you are someone that is dealing with depression and anxiety and you haven't tried out Christianity, give it a shot. And I just wanted to emphasize on that before I continue, because I know that if you've clicked on this video, you might be dealing with depression right now or anxiety. And I think the most important thing to do is to just seek help. So I'll make sure that if I have any links to any like therapists, online therapists, I'll make sure I find them, do some in-depth research and put it down below. Let's just start with the story of my life. So when I was a youth, when I was young, when I was growing up, I feel like I was a very happy child. Full stop, point blank period. Mental health has no age. Mental health has no limit. Ages of like a baby to 9, 10. No, I was happy for a very long time. Up until year 8, definitely year 8. How old are you in year 8? 13 years old. I've done some like really in-depth introspection. I've taken that time to really just understand me and like actually understanding why I was happy and what was the links that made me the happiest. Definitely family, definitely friends of my life that really, really linked to my identity and really allowed me and enabled me to just be happy and forget about my problems was acting and performing. You know, big part of my life where I was at my happiest, I would say. And year after year after year, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, I was in musicals, and year 8. So that's a good 5 years I spent time performing. I'm just gonna quickly divert actually with my mental health experience and with my mental health journey. One thing that I will change and would change about it is seeking therapy or seeking help earlier. Definitely when I was in primary school, didn't really know about it, didn't really understand it. In year 7, probably the same thing. Just didn't think that problems or like looking into your emotions was a thing, which is really, really, really negative, and that's not a good thing because mental health is very, very real. Mental health problems has no age, has no look, appearance. Ultimately, anyone can deal with it. And then when we got to year 9, in year 9, I just started getting older, and I started to like emotions started to build up, like to just actually realize, oh wait, hold on, I have emotions, I have feelings, I'm crying about this, I'm crying about that. Not saying that before I didn't cry, but to the age of like 14, 15, whatever, I would be upset and there would never really be that like clear, specific reason, like, oh, I hurt my leg, I'm crying now. It wouldn't be as simple as that. Now it's like, oh, I'm upset and I don't know why. In year 7 actually, I take it back. In year 7, I remember I would get quite stressed. Such a young age. At 11 years old, I was quite stressed and a little bit emotional. And then fast forward to year 9, where I started to actually realize I had emotions. It started to become evident, and I would be upset and I would get moody and etc. And obviously that's just that's a part of puberty and you growing up. I don't want to just get these like confused. Having emotions, crying, all of these things, they're very, very natural. But I would say things started to shift for me in year 9. But what I also can say also stopped or changed, left my purpose and left the whole acting thing and what made me the happiest behind. I was just like, bun this, I ain't got time for this, I don't want to do it, so I'm not gonna do it. And I think what I wanted to do was actually just figure out who I was without the acting. That's what subconsciously anyways was going through my head. I don't think I thought of that as deeply in year 9. I probably was not thinking that, but as of now I can just see it as like, let me figure out who Sephora is minus the acting. A compulsive need to just do things. I think that's my thing. Everyone in my family is very, very hardworking, so there was a constant need to just always be doing something. As I'm doing this, I'm a little bit nervous, you know, because it is kind of like a heavy topic, and the way I'm talking about it now is just like oh, by the way, I was depressed, I had anxiety, but it is a lot to kind of like get off my chest, and I feel quite nervous as I'm talking about it. I think year 10 was definitely the first time I think I experienced depression. 10, you're like what, 15, 16? One of the reasons why I have overcome anxiety and depression and why I'm in a better place now is frankly because of God. Like I try to beat around the bush and be like, yeah, there's this, there's that. One other thing though, as a Christian, you need to understand that therapy and when you're diagnosed for a certain condition, it doesn't take away from your relationship with God. God wants you to seek therapy. They can coexist. They don't need to be separate. So therapy is amazing, but at the time as well, especially with like my view on mental health, I think it was always to just lean on God. But God, frankly, is the main reason why I am doing better today. If I'm not trying to be around the bush, I'm not even going to come lie. I'm going to speak my truth. When I was a teenager anyways, I know that I wasn't firmly rooted in Christ. I didn't really have a clear understanding of what God was all about. So therefore, I didn't really have anything to lean on. It wasn't going to a therapist weekly. I wasn't really opening up about my emotions to my friends that often until I started to, you know, break down and have all these moments. I was just like really vivid memory where it was my birthday, and obviously, you know, birthday depression is a thing, right? That's a temporary thing. It shall pass. And I remember feeling very, very low on my 15th birthday, feeling alone, but I had loads of friends. I've always had friends, but I was just very low and I didn't know why. It's my birthday, you should be celebrating. Honestly, I'm thankful and grateful for life every single day, but we cannot help these emotions. Also, just because you are blessed and just because you have everything in life that you need does not take away from the fact that you can still face depression, you can still face anxiety. The richest people on earth face mental health problems and have their own things going on internally because it's an internal battle. I think that's what I just want to emphasize on. I wasn't really distracting myself as well with musical theatre, with plays, with acting. Everything was kind of stripped away, do you get what I mean? And I was still going to church, don't get me wrong, but I felt very low. People always think that with depression there's a specific catalyst and there's a specific answer and there's a specific, oh, my mum said this, so therefore I'm depressed. So that no, for me it was genuinely just a feeling. I didn't really understand it. The one reason why I did have that feeling, and the one reason why at that age I was feeling so low for no reason, was because I did not open up about my feelings. Talk to my friends about how I'm feeling on the inside, because I didn't know how to. Everything was just happy 24/7. I didn't take my issues to anyone, or I didn't take my internal problems to anyone. I didn't take it to God. I was praying, but I was probably like doing up surface level prayers, like, thank you for breakfast this morning, Jesus. Thank you. Like, I wasn't opening up to anybody. I just remember waking up and sometimes just feeling really sad, but like constantly getting out of bed, and I kept thinking, like, when am I going to be happy again? When am I going to go back to my happy self? I remember having conversations with my best friend. I did start to open up about it, and it was very much this sentence, this phrase that kept going over and over again, was, I just want to be my old self. I want to be like the old me, the happy me, the crazy me, and I just wasn't like that. And because I wasn't like that, it frustrated me even more, because however I was very good at covering it up. Obviously I wasn't constantly, like, every single day 365 of the whole entire year depressed, but very much pushed past it and ignored it. But things, I think, that you try to ignore, things that you try to cover up, things that you try to avoid, will always come back to you. It could be for anything in this world, but for me specifically, like with my mental health problem, if you try to avoid it, it will come back unless you address the problem, unless you seek help, unless you speak to someone about it. I was depressed in year 10, evidently, because I do remember a vivid memory of when I used to go to my old church. I remember this one memory where I went to one of my pastors at church. I remember coming up to him and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I'm just unhappy. I don't have to explain it, or I don't know what's going on, but I just don't feel like myself. I wasn't being specific, but I was just like, yeah, I am not happy. I can't remember exactly what I said at that time, but this memory always comes back to me. Like, clearly there was something wrong, and clearly I just needed help. But he definitely gave me good advice, but he can only do so much. Do you get what I mean? I think he prayed for me as well, probably, but I went to a pastor. So that makes me realize, yeah, Sephora, don't try and lie on YouTube and beat around the bush and act like you were depressed. Yeah, I think he messaged me and stayed in contact, but at that period I think we were kind of leaving, or we stopped going to that church, not for any like specific reason. That church was literally amazing, but I remember, yeah, definitely year 10, there were days that I just couldn't eat. I remember, like, literally the Google definition of depression that kind of made me really upset was the definition that says things that you used to enjoy you don't find enjoyable anymore. That was literally the case for me. Like, I used to love off, I still do, I had plantain and chicken yesterday, but I love off, like, you know, plantain chicken, my mom's cooking, and I remember just feeling like I couldn't eat it. Just go back to that period, like, what was making me depressed? I think it was just a transition of life, not doing what I used to do, but then on top of that, not speaking about it. I've done some notes as well, just to remember how I felt, because I think with me as well, because I'm in such a, like, I'm in a good place, it's easy for me to just cover up what it looked like. Yeah, I could get out of bed, but just when I would, it was like, oh, here we go again, another day of me feeling very sad and me feeling low. I tried to beat around the bush, I tried to avoid the way I felt, but at that time, that is how I felt. I felt extremely low, and it was consistent, and therefore I was depressed. You can be diagnosed with depression. I was never diagnosed with depression, I was never diagnosed with anxiety, but I'm aware of what those feelings are, and probably what it felt like. And at that time, I'm not gonna lie, that's how I felt. Like, definitely, I think you can go through seasons of depression, or temporary depression, or etc., or you can actually go to the doctors and be diagnosed with it. I was never diagnosed. I haven't even been to the doctors, but I think everybody needs therapy. Like I've said it in the previous video, Meek Mill literally says we need to start making therapy cool in the Black community. I think one of my goals for this year is to definitely go to therapy. You don't need to wait until you are in such a low state to seek therapy. You should already kind of nip it in the bud before it. Do you know what I'm saying? Nip it in the bud, child. I would describe year 11 as a time where I spent a lot of time thinking about what other people were thinking. Spent a lot of time in situations when I was with people thinking, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Of me in my head, in year 11 constantly. My birthday was pretty lit. Was good. I remember my birthday in year 11 was great vibes. I will say is that, like, sometimes I can be really happy, then like these feelings of anxiety, depression could come back. March times, the feeling of depression came back. I just didn't really understand it. I was like, here we flip and go again. But this time it was different. I wasn't constantly waking up in sadness. Even being with my friend, I remember we had to meet up and revise. I genuinely struggling to even do my hair properly. I was struggling to just be happy and put on a brave face. I started to speak to people about my problems. The people that I would speak to would be my sister or my sisters, and I would just be like, oh, like, I'm feeling like just low, but I don't know why. cry, and my sister would say things like, oh, maybe you're depressed. Like, I would definitely not try to claim it. Just no, I don't want to hear it, basically. My sister Marion said to me is that, yeah, when some people are depressed, they struggle to even like have a shower, they struggle to even brush their teeth. Things that seem so easy and natural and so like second nature become so difficult for someone that is not happy within themselves. You know, I'm in the Western world, you know, and that used to always be my thing as well. I remember, you need to be happy, you need to be better because you're blessed, you're living in the Western world where you have free education, the NHS, even though the NHS, obviously Tories, you're a little bit of a mess, but NHS, I have this, I have that, I have all of this in my life. You need to be happy. But that is not how mental health problems work. You cannot compare or invalidate your feelings based on what someone else has in another country and what you have here. That is not how it works, and that's not how it should run at all. Like, I remember another issue as well. I know Christians speak a lot about this, and you're running to other human beings and you don't run to God, or you don't run to a therapist, or you don't run to someone that can professionally help you. But that was definitely me in year 11. I still felt probably, I would say, depressed or just low, constantly low. But at the time, it just wasn't the norm to speak to my friends. I remember going to my teacher and kind of asking for help, emphasizing the same thing, feeling low, and she definitely gave me some great advice. She also said that I should speak to someone. After that, I was like, well, I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna speak to someone I don't want to. So I just didn't. Figured it out on my own. The feelings started to change. Earlier on in that year, I was very, very low and very depressed. Then obviously as GCSEs came along, I started to develop feelings of like anxiousness. It wasn't even ever about the work. It was mainly just about my emotions, just not really being able to like navigate them properly. Exam period, definitely there were a lot of tears. There was a lot of excessive crying, definitely just not really understanding why I felt the way I felt, and it just came out during exam season. Just pressure of like, you need to do well, but then also it's like I hadn't dealt with a lot of things. I remember being in English class, going towards our exams. I'm a G at English. It's not even about being stressed, because that's the thing, I enjoyed the exams. Weirdly enough, I actually had a calm time during the exam itself. My issue was always the build up towards it, the pressure towards it. And I think that's why if I was to ever go to a school, ever do anything with school kids, just to emphasize on the fact that irrespective of the outcome, the journey should be a positive one. It shouldn't be a stressful, like scary, if you fail, your life is over. It should never be like that. It should definitely just be like a free flowing, your best, positively work towards your goal type of experience. Internally, I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself. Another memory was when I was in English class. I think this is the first and only time that I had a panic attack. I had a panic attack in that class, child. Oh my god. I remember being on the left hand side of the classroom, like when you walk into a classroom, being on the left hand side, and I remember just leaving the class and just bro, I couldn't breathe. It wasn't as visible as like a panting and everyone could really tell, but it was definitely like I was trying to regain, I mentally put my feet on the ground again. I'm just like listing it now, like, oh, I went through this, I went through that. At that time, it felt like the longest period of my life, a constant hole of just like, you never get out of this space. But obviously, as I'm speaking to you right now, and you can definitely see there's like a change in me, you guys should kind of realize that this too shall pass. Like, these feelings won't remain. Feeling and the state that you're in is only temporary. This is with my eldest sister now, Nissy, and I was genuinely, you know, like a Fanta bottle. If you shake it, and it's about to burst. I felt like I was like literally shaking. A very heightened point of anxiety, and I remember coming to my sister, literally hesitating yet again because I didn't want to tell my sister. And I'm like, maybe I should speak to her because she can help. Like, she was just like to me, do you know what? Maybe we should pray together. And we prayed together, and I would say that there was a shift. I would say in that instance, but that's just not how it works for everyone. Not everyone's a Christian watching this, and if you are dealing with, making sure that you speak to someone that can professionally help you or make depth. But in year 11, I went to a new church. One of my best friends, Crystal, shout out to her, invited me to a Ghanaian church, and it was very much more Pentecostal. And I remember leaving that church feeling refreshed. I remember the first time I went to that church, leaving that church feeling happy, properly happy. And we got to year 12 now. I go into a new church, which is the church that I go to now. It's called Light London. Check it out. They have an online service, they have an in-person service too. Definitely enabled my spiritual growth, enabled me to realize, hey, by the way, Sephora, going to a therapist is very normal. By the way, speaking to God about your problems is very normal. By the way, doing both of those things in order to better yourself is very normal. 2 to 3 years ago, wow, damn. In sixth form, I remember still not feeling the best, but it wasn't as bad as it was when I was in year 11 and year 10. Definitely what had changed was prayer. idea of God, my understanding of God had definitely developed. I was also, before that as well, going to like a midweek youth group church thing that my church, Light London, held called Light Force. I would go to these sessions where we kind of explore our emotions. That is essentially what I did. Like, it was COVID, and I think COVID was very good for me. And I know COVID was like a very, very crazy time. COVID-19 for me, it really just changed me for the better. I think writing in my journal, I was eating better. Bro, I'm going into second year of university. Like, I've learned so much, and don't get me wrong, it's not like my emotions have been consistently positive, because number one, that is not human. There's a Bible scripture as well, I think in Corinthians or something like that, that says, when I am weak, it's good because it means I'm strong. When you have feelings of sadness, when you have feelings of anxiousness, when you have feelings of fear, these are feelings that remind you that you're a human being. It reminds you that you are alive and you're living and you're breathing. Necessary to speak to someone, because you shouldn't constantly be feeling upset and constantly feeling low, especially when you don't know what the reason is. And that's what I used to do. I used to wish, I want to go back to the old me, be like the positive me that was happy 24/7. Hello, no, that was me that was just living in oblivion, ignorant bliss. You're constantly happy, so you don't know what sad is. And then when you do hit sadness, it's like this crazy wave of emotions. But you know what? I'm not saying that I'm prepared already for the next time I'm sad. But I know that it's normal now, but you can overcome it, because I have overcome it in a happier state. See, I can thank 3 things for that. Number 1, thank God, because God taught me that going to therapy is necessary. God taught me that speaking to him is necessary. God was there for me when no one else was. God was there for me even when I would feel low and I would continue praying. God was there 24/7. And at the place that I'm in now because of the people that I have in my life. I was able to go to people. I still had people around me. I still had my sisters. My problem with that at the time, that I didn't realize until obviously later on, that running to all those people would have never fixed it. You're just going to these people and you want someone to hear, you want someone to understand, you want someone to just feel the pain. I'm not saying don't run to anyone, but you need to go to people that can make that ultimate change. They're not qualified, they're not trained. But I want to thank me for being where I am today. Like, I want to thank myself for and never giving up, continuing this life journey that I now know is just so beautiful, complicated, messy, but that's what makes life. Now it's like I went through that and I know what to do now. And don't get me wrong, during these periods of my life, it may seem like I was just constantly crying, and no, there were amazing moments in my life. Starting my YouTube, and I think a key reason why I did start my YouTube at the age of 17 is because I had then come into a new self. I definitely, just doing things had definitely aided me, like exercise, reading my Bible, seeking therapists. Even though I've never been to a therapist to this day, don't worry y'all, a 2022 resolution is going to be going to therapy, because therapy is so important. Everyone should go to therapy. Reading, listening to music, listening to gospel music, dancing, having fun, going back to find my passion and my purpose. Now it's like I'm at such a great place, because I am just university, I have space, I have time to explore who I am, learn new things about myself. And then also on top of that, I'm getting back into acting. It's like I'm going back into it now that I know who I am. We don't know who we are yesterday, tomorrow. We find out new things about ourselves every single day. But the one thing that I do want to say that I am grateful for is just the journey that I've been on, like how knowledgeable I am now, knowing that I can give advice to someone that's probably dealing with the same thing. It does get better, and genuinely it will get better for you. To the person watching this video, if you are currently in a space where you are still depressed and still anxious, and you're looking at me like, wow, one day I want to get to her state of happiness. Because I remember I used to look at other people and just be like, wow, there are people in this life that wake up consistently happy. I used to look at my sisters that are just like that, and I used to be like, wow, like I want to get to that stage. And you will be happy again. And obviously the happy again doesn't mean constant happiness every single day. It means sometimes feeling low, but then knowing that the next day you're going to wake up and you're going to feel better, etc. Just to raise awareness that it helps people that might be dealing with the same thing, or just helps people that might want to understand it a little bit more. If you are in that state, there are answers, whether that is speaking to someone professional, speaking to God, and to the doctors, and being diagnosed with something, and then actually getting the medication that's needed. And I definitely always spend time with myself. I spend time journaling, figuring out my emotions. I know that I need to go to a therapist soon, irrespective of if I'm happy or not. And I'm excited for that experience, because it's going to be great to speak to someone that professionally can help you. I have an amazing relationship with God. Like, no one can tell me jack. Just because if I don't do this, I don't do it. Nope. Because God's got my back. God's got my back. You know, God is my best friend. God is everything to me. All my emotions. Like, I genuinely have amazing friends that support me and I support them. I have amazing amazing family around me that do the same. Speaking online therapy, in-person therapy, calling people. There are talk lines. There are people that you can go to. There are websites that you can check out. There are Bible plans that you can do there. Do what's best for you, and it is your journey, and those experiences have made me who I am today. I'm very grateful to just be living life. Gratitude is also really important as well. This is helping people and enabling people to understand that panic attacks, anxiety, depression, breakdowns, all these things are very, very real, and it can happen to anyone. So thank you guys for coming to the end of this YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching Real Influencing episode 5. I hope this video has helped you. If you need someone to speak to, make sure you seek the help that I've mentioned already in the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Guys, check out all my other content. Turn on the post notification bell. Period. Bye, guys.